Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to Day 50. Today's explainer is focusing entirely on the fascinating, high-stakes world of digital forensics. I mean, this is really where theory meets reality, right? We're going to unpack exactly what the material lays out, so we can all master the structure of a real digital investigation. Here is our roadmap for today, and it really follows a real-world detective's journey. Section 1 is Entering Digital Forensics. Section 2 covers the core investigative topics. Section 3 is all about the investigator's tools. And we'll wrap up with Section 4, the final forensic report.
So, Section 1, Entering Digital Forensics.
Before we even look at specific technical procedures, we kind of need to completely shift our perspective. We have to embrace this central metaphor of the digital crime scene. We've literally got to treat computer systems, hard drives, the whole digital environment with the exact same level of caution and extreme rigor as a physical crime scene. Just like a detective wouldn't go trampling through a living room with muddy shoes and contaminate physical evidence, a digital investigator absolutely cannot just blindly click around a suspect's computer. Every single keystroke alters the environment. Every open file changes a timestamp. We are dealing with digital crime scenes here, and the rules of engagement, they have to be flawless.
Moving on to Section 2, Core Investigative Topics. Now, what's really interesting about this next part is these core topics actually form the strict rules that dictate the entire flow of our work. The source material gives us 3 main steps. Step 1, chain of custody. Step 2, disk imaging. And Step 3, memory analysis. It is absolutely essential to understand these not just as a random list, but as a strict procedural flow. In a real-world investigation, these build upon one another chronologically. Like, you can't jump to analyzing data if you haven't secured the scene, right? And you definitely can't secure the scene without proving who had access to it in the first place. So let's break down each of these crucial steps. We begin with the chain of custody. The material defines this as the meticulous tracking of digital evidence. Think of this as the physical bagging and tagging of evidence at a crime scene. From the exact moment a device is seized, every single person who touches it, stores it, or analyzes it, they must be thoroughly documented. No exceptions. If there is even a single gap in this timeline, a moment where the device is just unaccounted for, the evidence can be legally compromised and thrown straight out of court. The chain of custody ensures absolute accountability. Okay, so once the evidence is completely secure, we move to disk imaging. This is the process of creating a perfect, untouched digital replica of the suspect drive. Remember our rule about not trampling the crime scene? Well, disk imaging is basically the digital equivalent of taking wide-angle crime scene photos before a single piece of evidence is touched. We never, ever do our analysis on the original drive. No way! We make a flawless, bit-by-bit copy, and we perform all of our investigative work on that replica. That's how we ensure the original state remains completely pristine. And that brings us to our third topic. Memory analysis, which is extracting data from active digital states. But wait, how do we know what was happening the exact second the computer was unplugged? Well, that is exactly what memory analysis solves. When a computer is running highly sensitive, active data, stuff like passwords, open network connections, or even running malicious software, it all lives in the system's temporary memory, or RAM. If the machine shuts down, bam, that data vanishes forever. So memory analysis is the highly technical process of capturing and dissecting that fleeting active state before it disappears.
All right, Section 3, the investigator's tools. Let's pick up the pace a bit here.
We've covered the theoretical rules, but how do we actually do this in practice? The source material highlights 2 heavy-hitting, dynamic tools for our investigations: autopsy and volatility. Seeing them side by side like this is super important because they aren't competing software, right? They're actually specialized instruments designed to tackle those 2 very different digital environments we just defined. These tools map perfectly back to our topics. Autopsy is our disk analysis tool. When we create that perfect disk image replica we were just talking about, we load it into Autopsy to recover deleted files, dig through search histories, and really reconstruct the whole timeline of the hard drive. On the flip side, Volatility is our memory analysis tool. We use Volatility specifically to dig into those captured RAM files, hunting for those active, temporary states like hidden malware or recently executed commands. So 2 distinct environments, 2 incredibly powerful tools. Which brings us to our final stop, Section 4, the final forensic report.
Listen, all the tools and technical analysis in the world honestly won't matter if you can't communicate your findings. The source material culminates in this specific project, the Forensic Investigation Report. And I really want to emphasize here, this is not just some academic exercise. In the real world, this is the ultimate courtroom-ready conclusion of a digital forensics expert's entire job.
It's where you have to translate complex, super technical data into a clear, chronological narrative that a judge, a jury, or maybe a company executive can actually understand.
So the absolutely crucial point here is captured in this hypothetical rule of thumb. If it isn't in the forensic investigation report, it didn't happen. It literally doesn't matter if you found the smoking gun during memory analysis or uncovered some deleted master plan using autopsy. If you fail to properly document it, justify it, and present it clearly in this final report, well, legally speaking, it just does not exist. And that is exactly why this requirement sits at the very end of the material as the ultimate metric of success.
Which leaves us with this final thought for today's explainer. If digital evidence is so incredibly fragile, capable of being totally destroyed by a single keystroke or a sudden loss of power, how confident are you in the final report? That tension between the extreme fragility of the evidence and the heavy finality of the report is exactly what makes the field of digital forensics so challenging, but also so vital. You've got to master the chain of custody, utilize your tools precisely, and write an airtight report. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope this leaves you eager to explore the source material and the fascinating world of digital investigations even further.